Okay, so now I'm going to remove the waste. I've got a bevel edge chisel here. This one is made by Wood River. They're quite a decent chisel. They've got nice Babinga handles, and this is a 25mm, so it's nice and sharp. Again, sharp tools rule. So I'm going to put it bevel down. Okay, so the wrong way up, bevel down in this instance, and I'm going to be taking away about 1mm of material each time. So when I'm putting my chisel, I'm literally just taking away about 1mm each time. I'm not going to chisel towards me, that's dangerous. I'm going to come back around here and just line up and tap. So what you want to do is try and keep your chisel parallel or to this horizontal surface. So don't start dropping it down, okay, or lifting it up too much because you'll wedge in. The bevel on the back here is going to naturally push your chisel upwards out of the timber. Okay, so bevel down, this nice in the same plane as this. Okay, so all nice and level in that horizontal plane. And again, a little bit more. A little bit more. So those saw cuts just help break off, and it makes it a little bit easier to get them out without doing damage. Okay, so keeping that chisel nice and horizontal. Okay, in the same plane as this surface. Okay, so I'm right-handed. I've got my chisel in my left hand and mallet in right hand. Okay, so I like to hold it. This chisel's a little bit long. I like to hold it, kind of grip it around there. So I've got just a little bit more control then. If I'm all the way back here, it's difficult to control what's happening with the end of this chisel. So snug up on it, put your hand round. Okay, so I've got my hand, the back of my hand facing the ceiling, palm down, and just your fingers down there. I've also got my thumb just down the handle of the chisel a little bit. That just helps me with a little bit of control with rotation. So when you're tapping your chisel in here, it's going to want to follow and twist in the direction of the grain. So just my thumb out there just gives it a little bit more stability, but do whatever's comfortable for you. Okay, but you always want two hands behind this sharp edge. So if you've got one hand on a mallet, one hand on a chisel, you can't cut yourself. Okay, so I'm only going through about halfway. Okay, I'm stopping halfway. I don't want to blow the timber off of this side and go lower than I expect. Wonderful. Okay, so that's the side I've been doing. I've stopped about 1mm away from my baseline. We'll clean that up shortly. Okay, so I'm going to turn it round in my vise and do the same again from the other side. So keeping that chisel horizontal, and we naturally begin to make a peak in the middle of the piece of timber because of the bevel on the front of the chisel. So now I've got a small triangular peak in the middle, and I can lower that down. Okay, so we're going to go chisel back the right way up now. Whoops. Okay, and again, I'm standing back. I'm not too pinched up too close to my voice. You want to give yourself space. Give your limbs room to move and find a comfortable position. So I'm resting my arm on the bench here. Okay, so that increases my stability, my accuracy. And I'm just taking off small bites, okay? So you can see how small they are. A fingernail's thickness maybe. Okay, so you don't have to use a mallet here. If you feel more comfortable snugging up on the chisel, you can do. This vise is a bit wide for me to be able to do that. It's almost 3 inches wide, so doing that I'd be too far away on the back of the chisel. So I'm just going to continue with my mallet for the moment. So when you saw all the way down to very close to your baseline, means the fibres are already severed down in these corners, so you don't get so much problem chiseling out along those edges. Okay, so by keeping that chisel nice and horizontal, hopefully I'm going to have a base which is already pretty close to being flat. Okay, so it's a good habit to get into, to actually take notice of the position of where your tools are and analyse what you might be doing. So thinking about what you're actually trying to achieve as you hit that chisel will help you. Just randomly tapping away, you don't get the same long-term effect. So actually thinking about what you're trying to do, keeping that chisel flat, gentle taps. It's all good habits now for accurate, high quality furniture pieces down the line. Pay attention to it. Pay attention to it now while you're learning. These things will just become natural by the time you actually start making bespoke one-off pieces. That muscle memory and skill will already be there. Okay, so I'm not going past the middle, just stopping a little bit more. Okay, so I'm just going to take my second piece now and just have a look and lay it over and see what's happening. So that's not fitting in there at the moment, which is what we want. Okay, so we don't want it too big because I've still got a 1/2 mil here and a little bit along here to remove. So just stop and check, analyse how you're doing, have a little think about what's happening. So I can just see a bit of my pen line there and there. So I don't want to take away all of that pen line. If I do, I'm going to end up with a socket which is too big. Okay, so I will still want to be able to see a little bit of that pen line. Okay, so that's looking good. So just be aware, it's good to stop and have a look, analyse how things are going before they go too far. So that's looking good.